The title of it was Workers Wanted. And then it had an image of an old man with his dirty hands. And it was just basically talking about like you work your whole life essentially for the man, but you're the ones with the dirty hands, right? And you got nothing to show for it except, taking it to the grave. I mean, that was the what it was all about. And then it started talking about moving out of a 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship. About 2 years ago, I had a very big paradigm shift in kind of the way I've been running my coaching business and my agency and everything around business as a whole. And one of those paradigm shifts that I believe will help you in your journey when it comes to building a business or just honestly succeeding at anything in life is understanding the power of mentorships. And as hard as it is to find someone to mentorship you, especially in the beginning, it's equally as important to be able to do so. And so about 2 years ago, we introduced our mentorship program in our coaching program. And 6 years prior to that, for 6 years, we it was like a do-it-yourself type of program. And we've had tons of people that had a lot of success doing it themselves. But this paradigm shift of taking the chance to build the infrastructure to be able to assign mentors, people who have done six figures and more in their own agency, and then them mentor people who come into a coaching program, the results are astronomically different. And it actually kind of shocked me. I don't think I was expecting such different results that people were getting when they were assigned one-on-one for 8 weeks with a successful agency owner so they can guide them and handhold them. I don't know if that's like me being stupid, because I guess it seems obvious, but results have been pouring in over the last 2 years. I mean, it is astronomically different. So in this video, I'm going to share with you James, who joined our mentorship program 6 weeks ago. I already have 5-6 clients, trial clients, and leading into monthly recurring revenue clients. And he explains in such clarity, actually, it was the first time I've met him, such clarity on the paradigm shift that he had and why he chose to grab a mentor while there were spots available. And 6 weeks later, his entire life is changing, right before our eyes. I'm going to have a 90-day follow-up with him, but I hope you guys enjoy this. He's going to kind of give you tidbits and some golden nuggets and things that he learned in the last 6 weeks that probably take some people, when they're doing it themselves, years to learn. So enjoy, have fun. I wanted to get this out and shoot that prior to me going on vacation. As you can see, I'm in Mexico now, but I'll be back in about a week, and I have more of these to post. So I hope you guys get a lot of golden nuggets out of it. And honestly, more importantly, inspiration. And as always, whenever I have to put up case studies, by law, I have to tell you that results aren't typical, although I'm very close to gathering data where I can say people in the mentorship program, these are the typical results. But by law, I can't say it yet. But once I get all those surveys and actual data back, then I can start saying it when I share these mentorship case studies. All right, guys, enjoy it. Have fun. And so you're currently working, obviously, full-time, right? And you came into the mentorship program when?
About 6 weeks ago, actually. It was around.
Okay, so you've been in it for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, so literally about 2 weeks ago, I felt that I was at that point where I'd finished watching Netflix, as in watching the training videos, and
Yeah.
I was ready to take that venture out to actually start putting everything into practice. And I think really, had it not been for the mentorship and just having someone there who has got your back, can keep you accountable, and is like the Swiss Army knife of connections, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to have kind of progressed, I think, at the pace that I have. I'm running kind of 5 trials at the moment, just through building my confidence and speaking to people that I kind of meet at local networking events, and it's been extremely productive and extremely effective.
Now, did you get into the mentorship right off the bat, or were you in first and then you?
I made the decision, if you're going to make an investment in yourself, it's important to set yourself up for success. And
Mhm.
I know myself, and I know I work best when I've got someone keeping me accountable. And
Yeah.
I wanted that accountability, but also that person who can give you the cheat codes in a way to
Mhm.
getting moving at a faster pace. That was what I wanted to do, and I think the biggest investment we can make is ourselves. So that was my decision behind wanting to do that.
Yeah, we didn't introduce the that program until I think maybe a year and a half or 2 years ago. And so for the first 6 years of selling this coaching on building an agency, it was we had our Q&As, and we did some like little accelerator group coaching and stuff like that. And it was just like one day I was like, wait a minute, we actually could make this work if we really wanted to. And then we just was like, hey, does anybody want this? And then what was happening is like we were getting feedback like what you just said, where if you a lot of people, believe it or not, come in to, let's say, a do-it-yourself, at your own pace, pay for a coaching program, and then they go through one video, and then life gets in the way, right?
It does, and I have that every day. I work a day job. I've got a
Yep.
young family, and I need to know in the time that I have, how can I be my most effective self,
Yeah.
and where can I fast track myself in areas to get results quicker. And I
Yeah.
think that's what the mentorship gets you.
Yeah, and it allows you to know that, like, I have a meeting on Friday with my mentor. I better have deliver something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It kind of puts your back against the
it
wall.
it does, and I think just having that done for you set up and someone that you can push ideas off and to just keep you focused, because let's be honest, the course contains so much information.
Hmm.
It can be overwhelming if you let it. And I think just having someone to just keep you in those bumpers, keep you in lane, so you don't get pulled off to a nice shiny thing that's happening in the Facebook group. Someone's talking
Yeah,
about AI, you immediately think, do I need to be on that?
sure, of course.
Actually, just keep in the lane, because actually if you stick to what you do and you show up consistently, you will get results.
Yeah, and so have you tried other coaching? Like, is this your first online business venture?
Second online business venture. So during COVID, I set up like a virtual event
Oh,
agency
I
and
saw
just
that.
ran
Yeah.
ran a few clients to just help get them through that period, and always looking for something that I can get my teeth into. I've been working the corporate life for a while now, but I realized that autonomy and satisfaction and just that time freedom, in my opinion, comes from chartering your own path.
Yeah.
Um, so this is the one that I really wanted to do some kind of research into. I wanted to understand what was expected. And I think what drew me to this is it can scale at the pace that you want it to,
Hmm.
and you are already given that blueprint for success. Whereas most courses I've seen and spoken to people about, you get given a load of information, mostly out of date, let's be honest, and
Yeah.
then you're left to it. And there's
Hmm.
nothing in terms of ongoing support. And I think for me, this is where I've been pleasantly surprised in that the Facebook group has been phenomenal.
Hmm.
But again, the additional kind of investment from my side in the mentorship has just been having someone that can give you that confidence boost, someone that's in your corner and believes in you, but also someone that's been there, done that, and literally wears the t-shirt and is doing it whilst they're supporting you as well.
Yeah.
I think that's incredibly powerful.
Oh, it is the most powerful thing. I've done a lot of research when it comes to mentorship data, and like the even like just even business owners in general that have a mentor, they're like 80% more chance of success. Is what I'm trying to
Absolutely.
say.
And then when you
Yeah.
look at the statistics of businesses that fail in that first year, I
Oh,
wonder
it's
what
massive.
that is down to and how that could have been remedied with something like a coach or a mentor, or
Yeah.
someone that can just isn't down in the weeds like you or down in the trenches, but can kind of just think more big picture
Hmm.
and pull you back to focus and help reduce that noise, because there is a huge amount of background noise that goes on in the world of marketing, and it's just about where you position yourself most importantly and where you can drive those results, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Positioning, having the ability to have blinders on and not and saying no more than you say yes, is probably the most important thing. Now, where
Yeah.
are you now? You said you have 5 current trials going on.
Yeah, so literally using local connections in my area, I've just finished a trial for a window cleaning contractor. We used message marketing. In just 7 days, we managed to bring them in close to £750 worth of extra work through their existing client base, just
Nice.
through running a message marketing campaign. Due to catch up, talk about the results, and talk to them about the opportunity of investing that money which you didn't have into ongoing retainer, we can just keep building that pipeline.
Sure. That's awesome.
So
What
that's
else you
really
got going?
great. Just had a catch up this morning, actually two catch ups, one with a health practitioner, one with a property developer that's right at the stage of his investment journey. And I'm also talking to a car detailer who's just set up a local spot in town and wants to learn about lead generation and bringing in customers for their service. So it's amazing when you put yourself out there as a marketing person, how many people don't have the time
Oh, yeah.
to actually do it. And that's my pitch, is like, you have a craft, you have a profession. To expect you to have to learn how to do marketing is nigh on impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'll never forget the first time I learned about this 2014. I mean, literally it was like it was a Facebook ad. It was a coaching program when I first got introduced to this. And it was a Facebook ad that was like, this actually makes sense. Businesses need more leads and customers, and everybody's on the internet. Cool. And then I started to, learn about it and things like that. And then everywhere I turned was an opportunity. Every billboard I saw was a business that I can say, you're wasting money on billboards. Every, bring your dog to get a haircut. That's somebody that could use more clients. You get a haircut. Every business you walk into, every time I had somebody come to fix my AC, landscaper, everybody. So everybody that was coming in, I was pitching services. It's like all of a sudden, like the world is filled with gold. It's just like opportunities everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think one module in the training really stood out for me is, I think what this course teaches you is to view the world, so to speak, with a completely different lens to how you looked at it before. And you throw a stone just out your window, you are bound to hit loads of businesses that could do with your help. And what I found in the short time that I've been speaking to clients and trying to qualify them, and I asked that question, what do you want to achieve in the next 90 days? And they say, I want to do this, 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 and this. And you say, what are you going to do and how are you going to do that to get there? And they go, and it's that silence where when it dawns on them, they have no plan. They're just going to wing it. In fact, someone said to me, I was just hoping to wing it and hope for the best. And I said, do you want to put that risk to your business? How's that playing out for you?
Yeah, I mean, and again, you're using the script that we always use, where you say, like, where do you want to be in 90 days? And
Absolutely.
then it's like, so how are you going to get there? And they're like, well, I don't know. So then what, if this is where you wanted to get, why haven't you gotten there yet? And they're like, oh, well, I don't really know. And then eventually they admit that they don't know how to, and they need somebody to come and do it for them.
I think what's really powerful is when you paint them that picture of, what if there was a way where you could automatically run your business on autopilot? What if there is a way that you could manage your appointments not in a paper notebook?
Right.
And I think when you give them those scenarios and you pull them back and say there is a better way, it really opens their eyes. And I think the biggest thing I've taken away from the conversation is you only win. I only win when they win. So I'm there to be their biggest champion, their biggest person cheering from the sideline, because it's a win-win outcome for both of us. And I think that's where the partnership opportunity really comes in.
Oh yeah, 100%. Now, where do you want to be? What's your 90-day goal?
My 90-day goal is, in 90 days, my wife is due to give birth to our second.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I go off for a short spell of maternity, paternity leave that we have in the UK. In 90 days, if I could say to myself, I can 80% cover my day-to-day expenses, I would like to go back to my employer and hand in my notice and say, that's me done.
Wow.
It's an audacious goal, but I think the mentorship program has really set me up for success by landing those foundations, which I think are just so critical when you're starting out.
And who's your mentor, by the way?
Kate.
Okay, great. Yeah, she's great.
I call her, she's going to hate me saying, I call her my guardian angel sometimes. I seriously do. And I was talking to her just only yesterday, and I said, do you remember back in the days when you had like a Nintendo 64 or a PlayStation and you were trying to get to that next level, and you found out there was a cheat book that gave you the codes to press a couple of buttons in a certain way and it would get you there? that is what I think Kate does for me. She is that cheat book that gives me the opportunity to progress at a much faster pace than I could ever have done so by myself.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a earlier mentee conversation, and this guy Dave, and he said kind of the same thing. He's like, "Listen, he's like, if I didn't grab the mentorship, he's like, I'd probably still trying to get through the Genesis program,
Yeah.
a year later, because it's it's a lot." And so what ends up happening is, yes, it's good to go through it like quickly the first time, and then what ends up happening is that now you have some sort of foundation, and then every week you can maximize the mentor for, instead of asking like simple, stupid questions and wasting time with that the answers are in that training. Now you're talking about like things that move the needle. Like, what should I say when they say this? Or what's the best, what would you recommend that I pitch at first? Let's say your first service. Here's the niche that I'm working with. Where you can't answer all those questions in a training module,
You can't. And what I've learned about Kate, and maybe she is just unique, but she is a fantastic networker and connector. And again, it removes those barriers of me having to find people to get the answers. She says, I know a guy. I know someone that can help you with that.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
join you up with someone. She's an incredible facilitator. And the success that I've had, I think I could not have done that without someone who knows what they're doing and just pointing you in that right direction. And to come back to your point earlier, it is those marginal gains that eventually all add up.
Yeah.
And I think if you can show up, you put your hours in, and for me, it's completely changed how I work my day schedule. So I've joined the 5 a.m. club. So go to bed early,
We all do.
get up at 5, do a couple of hours in the morning before life wakes you up, and get those 2 hours out. But in those 2 hours, I'm able to be as productive as I can, so I can then allow the business to a certain degree run on autopilot during the day, and then I can pick it up when my day ends.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you came in about 6 weeks ago with the mentor now, and you have 5 trials under your belt, and you have a 90-day goal to be able to cover 80% of your expenses.
Yep,
Is that the goal?
that's the goal.
How are you going to get there?
I'm going to get there by running some amazing trials, closing them onto a retainer, and then just stacking them, taking them through what we all know is the business ATM. We start with the low-hanging fruit, the message marketing. We say, we've reached out to your existing customers. Let's take it to the next level. Let's fill up that sales pipeline with new leads. Let's take it to lead generation. Hey, you've got a website. We need to get you better visibility through Google. Let's push that up the ranks. So I think it's about not casting your net too wide and trying to keep. At the moment, I'm at that stage where I'll say yes to anything because anything could be an opportunity.
Yeah.
But I think as I further develop and deepen those relationships with clients, I'm able to extract more value from them, which is hopefully going to deliver more value for them as well.
I love it. Now I'm writing this down on my this is called a desk buddy, and I'm putting here that April, May, June, July 10th, I'm going to reach out to you, and let's see
Talk about accountability.
if you are going to reach your 90-day goal. Now, I think you will. I think that you have a good foundation, and I think that when is your wife due?
27th. Second, so she could be a little bit late. So I've got a bit of flex there.
Yeah, you do, but I mean, in the end, I mean, you ain't gonna sleep anyway, so you
Might as well be sitting there with my laptop.
That's it. I mean, believe me, I've gone through it twice myself. You've already gone through it once.
Absolutely. And I think for me, you set those audacious goals because even if you get, let's say, 80% of the way there,
Sure, of course.
that is still success.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that tipping point really comes if I can see effort put in, reward take out. All I need to do is understand how to scale that. And I think that's where stuff like the lazy agency program can be great, and working with virtual assistants to be able to do stuff that you're not able to turn your hand to. And it is that training module which really struck a chord with me. It's the CEO cross-check. I have to keep reminding myself that I can't do everything. I need to know where I can add the most value and where I'm currently limiting the growth of the business. So I think that's where I need to be really critical of myself and understand if I want to scale and I want to meet that 90-day audacious goal, then I need to think about where my resource is best placed and where I can outsource to people that are much better at doing things than I can.
Yeah, I struggle with this even now, and I'm 44 years old.
Yeah, and I'm control freak by nature, and
Yeah, I
it
feel like
is
a lot of
hard.
people are, believe it or
It's
not.
hard because I
Yeah.
think because you care, you want everything to, if you're putting your name to it, you want everything to be as good as if you had did it yourself. But
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I thought I actually in my head I've thought about this a lot where it's like why am I or a lot of people like that? And I actually as much as I agree with you where I say is like I'll do it better than somebody else. You know what also think it is? I think it's just wanting to get it done now and not waiting for something to get done. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, yeah, I can give it to somebody else and they'll get to it maybe tomorrow morning, but I want it done now.
yeah,
So it's like it's almost like the Amazon of business is like, I'm gonna go to Amazon because delivery is tomorrow, right? And
exactly.
this work I could do it myself and have it delivered today rather than going to Amazon and having it tomorrow. So I've found it even a faster way to get things done. But then I'm the bottleneck, right? Then
Yeah,
I'm the bottleneck that is not pushing my business forward. So it's weird. It's you know, kids even like I look at my son, he's 13, it's like their expectations of speed of things. And again, it's not their fault. I mean, this is just the world they grew
it's
up in.
society and the automations and how fast technology is
Fast,
progressing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and like I'm impatient. I can't even imagine what that generation
Yeah.
is going to be because I didn't grow up with a cell phone. We didn't have we had Nintendo, like you said. I was born in '80, so
Mm.
that was like I didn't have a cell phone until 2000 and no 99 maybe or 2000. No cell. We had beepers,
That's crazy.
and then smartphone came out in 2007, I think, right?
Yeah, that was it. It was iPhone around that time, wasn't it? And I think what you say is really true. Speaking to my wife and talking about the frustration of when she wants to book a service, if she's not able to book that service now,
She
it's a
don't
real
want it.
turn off. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to. And when you're talking to clients that say, "Yeah, we'll get back to you in a few days with a quote. We'll message you," she's already lost interest.
Oh, 100%.
And you have to play to that game in
Yeah.
order to succeed. Otherwise, your competition will do it better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's everything is about speed. Speed to the first result, even for trials. Like it's like that's why reviews or message marketing is really the best choice because that even a business owner is looking for the fastest result possible. And believe it or not, most of business owners they've hired marketing agencies before, and most of the time they're just paying them and they have no idea what they're delivering them. They
I,
literally have no idea.
I was speaking to someone at a local meetup last week, and she was going to be spending nearly 15 grand, £15,000 a year on someone to maintain her website. Um,
Oh, Jesus.
I said, what is he doing? And she said, oh, he's going to make sure it's in on the first page of Google.
Oh, good. SEO. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Because
Yeah.
he says that's important.
It doesn't even know why.
No, I said you do know that's not going to yield you like instant results. That's a slow burner. We call it the customer later strategy.
That's right. Oh, you have gone through the training, my friend.
Hey, I'm a stickler for detail. I
Yeah, that's
sponge
awesome.
everything up. But I said, don't you want to be focusing on where you can get instant results? She's like, and I think she was about to put £15,000 into someone and not even knowing that's a
Yeah.
huge amount of money.
Yeah. So like that the pitch to that is like, look, let's revert the 15,000 pounds where you were gonna put it. You could
Yeah,
bring it over to me. Here's the difference is that I'll still work on getting you to the top of Google. However, with that 15,000 pounds, I'll make sure you're also getting leads today.
yeah.
Right? And so you can like splinter off to a little bit of that retainer if you want to. Some people do it one way or the other. I started out, believe it or not, and it was only to save face. I don't know if you've heard this story. My first client was a mortgage loan officer, and I knew nothing. I knew a little bit about SEO, but not good enough. Charged them $5,000 a month. Right? I knew they had a lot of money. And I knew the competition was high. You're dealing with like Bank of America and Chase Bank and so on and so forth. And so I was like, let's do 5,000 a month. And like 6 months goes by, and I'm like sweating. Like I'm like, gee, I got him from page 9 to page 2, but it doesn't mean anything, right? You got to get them above, like, and it was like in my head, I was like, this is not going to last. And so that was actually the beginning of that's how I met Jason, because I hired him, is what originally happened. I hired Jason to run Google ads for this mortgage company. And it was Jason's, believe it or not, it was Jason's idea. Was like, listen, he's like, you're making $5,000 a month. You're spending probably like 300 on white label SEO. He's like, take like 1,500 of that and let's put it toward AdWords. And the minute this guy starts getting leads, he's not going to care. Like, he's just going to be happy. And that's what it turned into. It was like, and that's where the local marketing vault was born. It was from that conversation.
Incredible, because he was facing his own battles of having to do, what was it, long commute, having to kill some time at the gym, but he was working a job and trying to fit this in around it. So you've all been through the path that we've had to do.
Yep. Everybody starts where they are. And most of the time, it's where you start, at ground zero.
Do you remember that moment where it felt real to you, in terms of you could see there was potential here, and there was that tipping point where if you kept going, it could really grow into something?
Believe it or not, I tell the story a lot. I think for some people have that, like that kind of that moment where they're like, they need to get paid, right? So they earn their first money, and that's for their moment. The minute I read that Facebook ad, I knew immediately that this was going to work, because it was so freaking logical. And I spent 7 years, dabbling into, like, the typical get rich quick type stuff. And
we've all been there.
Yeah, we've been there. And it was like, you knew after the first like 3 videos that it was like, what was I thinking? It's a waste of $200 or $97. And when I read, Brad Campbell is his name. He's not around anymore, and it's too bad, because he's probably one of the greatest copywriters of all time. I knew him personally. I got to know him, and he had an issue with like a troll that really like messed him up. Like, some guy like went to his house and stuff. He's like, I'm not doing this. He got really wealthy and rich, so he's like, I'm out. But I hate it so much. It's like it was like a Netflix movie that was so good that you could just keep watching over and over again. That was his copywriting. It was ridiculous. And I read that whole, the title of it was Workers Wanted. And then it had an image of an old man with his dirty hands. And it was just basically talking about, like, you work your whole life essentially for the man, but you're the ones with the dirty hands, right? And you got nothing to show for it except, taking it to the grave. I mean, that was the what it was all about. And then it started talking about moving out of a 9-to-5 into entrepreneurship, and why this path makes logical sense. There's 30 million businesses in the U.S. They all need more leads and customers. This is how we get the leads and customers. And it was like, dude, that 100% makes sense. Let's go. And I knew. That was my tipping point.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it speaks a lot of the truth. And you mentioned about time and freedom. I think one thing I've really learned, and I think maybe what this course has taught me, is not in the training, but it makes you reflect, is when you really put together that why you're doing this. I remember Jason said, if you don't have a strong why, your excuses will be stronger.
100%.
And when you think about time being the most valuable commodity, what do you want to be remembered by? It's not, when you were born and when you die, it's that dash, isn't it? It's like, do you want to look back, like, what does your dash mean to you? That bit that you have on your gravestone that summarizes your life.
Yeah.
And that's the tipping point for me, where I said, it's time to transition into something I want to be doing rather than something I have to be doing.
Well, I think that I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and I think that you're going to hit that 90-day goal. You know why? Because I've been where you are, in terms of, like, I had a 5-year-old son, and my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and I remember saying to myself, man, like, something like I don't want to do the paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to be running from job to another job, to like driving at night. I don't want to, take one vacation a year. And you have that same type of thing, and it will be enough as long as you don't let life get in the way, because it's very easy to let life get in the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It is. And that's why I think having that weekly check-in
it's
keeps you
important. Yeah,
keeps you on the straight and narrow, because you're not there to fend for yourself, because there is a huge amount of support there when you need it. But you do need to drive your own agenda.
yes,
No one else is going to do that for you. And you've got to be that person that sits in the driving seat and decide the direction that you want to head and take those turns depending on what's in front of you. You are the CEO of your business. No one else is going to tell you what to do. And it's that mindset coming away from us having your manager, your boss's manager telling you that, to you thinking more holistically and more strategically, that,
100%.
in my opinion, is the biggest factor to being successful. And it's a challenge, it's an audacious goal, and they're there for a reason to be scary. But I
That's
think
right.
my mantra in life is you've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I mean, that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen being complacent. That's for sure.
Yeah, and when you fail, just remember to fail fast and don't do it again.
Listen, failure is a good thing. I used to play this game kind of in my head where, like, the more frustrated I would get and the more no's that I would get, I remember I was able to kind of like almost, I couldn't wait to be told no because I knew it was getting me closer to a yes. And at first I felt like it was like I was lying to myself, but then I actually started to like believe it. And I was like, every time I was like in the worst, like, when it rains, it pours. Like, of course,
Yeah.
this client canceled. My daughter's sick. She's got 103 fever. The mortgage is due on Tuesday. And it's like all these things. I remember, like, I was like, you bring it on. I was like, I love it because I know the worse you're going to give it to me, the higher I'm going to go. I remember like playing these games in my head. I still do, by the way, because it's not like my life is rainbows and butterflies.
It builds your resilience,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And I remember having a period like that maybe a couple of weeks ago where I wasn't yet at that point of converting these prospects into a trial, and they were fobbing excuses of, oh,
Hmm.
I need to go somewhere else, I can't meet you today, or let me think about it. I think, oh, this feels a bit flat.
Hmm.
And I remember Kate, my mentor, saying to me, just keep checking in with them. You want to be there at the top of their mind when they rethink this. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then all of a sudden, in
Yes.
3 days, it started to turn.
Hmm.
And sometimes it is just a matter of timing. Maybe not
Yes.
right now.
It is always timing.
Timing is timing is key. And I think it comes back to that perseverance and just don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah. The way you got to think about it is just, the more you put in, you don't get it back right away, but
Yeah.
at some point you will. So if you stop, if you are able to just remind yourself, like, just because I'm throwing a ball against the wall, it doesn't have to bounce back right away. You know what I mean? Like, again, it comes down to patience. So I may throw 15, 20, 30 balls and maybe one comes back in a week, but then all of a sudden, 3, 4 weeks later, I get 5 back. And then it's like, now I'm getting so many back I don't know what to do with because I didn't stop throwing the things again. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm finding now. I was throwing so many balls over the last couple of weeks that all of a sudden they're coming back. I've got
Yes.
5 people that want to speak to me. I even forgot to mention I've got a kind of an aircon HVAC person.
Hmm.
So I'm, nearly 6 trials that are gonna and even people are saying, I'd love to pay, and I'm like, this is amazing. These are the words
Right.
I've
Now all
always
of a
been.
sudden, reciprocity kicks in.
Exactly. And I think, oh my God, it's then back to that overwhelming, like, what am I going to do?
Uh-huh.
It's fake it till you make it. And then all of a
That's
sudden
it.
people are talking to me, and it's an amazing feeling where you can see the potential and you just take that person out of head in the sand and you can show them that alternative path. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good way to end it. So well, I'm going to give you the best piece of advice. Never stop throwing the balls. Even
I'll bear
though
that.
you may get 10 back in a day, and you're like, oh, fine, I could take a break. Don't take a break. You keep prospecting, keep going to the meetups, keep sending messages, never stop, and just keep going. Because at some point, what happens is that it won't even be about prospecting anymore because you'll have enough paying clients, happy clients that you're just going to start getting referrals. I mean, I could add 50 new clients to our agency next month if I wanted to, just by reaching out to our clients and saying, "Hey, remember you wanted to introduce?" We always just say no because there's just so much we could do. And that's what happens. They'll come to you is what ends up happening.
Yeah, that must be a great feeling. No, great advice.
Yeah, it will be a great feeling, I promise. Hey, thanks for watching. And I know I normally don't really do this, but if anybody who's watched this video is interested in getting more information on how to actually be assigned their own mentor in the SMMA agency space, just take a look down below. Book a call with our team. Mention that you saw this video and you're interested in mentorship. This is not for everybody. It's not cheap, okay? I don't think it's actually too expensive either. But it's an investment in your business. It's an investment in your life. And I think it's for people who can. I think it's a way to skip all the heartache and stop going through a lot of the things and questions and wondering what you should do and then trying to get support and things like that. Listen, can it be done on your own? 100%. We have thousands of screenshots of people who've done it over the last 8 years. But this mentorship thing is something special. So if that's you, click book a call with the coaching program URL down below. And then just mention to the person you speak to that you saw this video and you're interested in learning more about it. Again, don't do that if you have no money. You have nothing to invest, because this takes a lot of our own resources. We pay our mentors. We have overhead about it. They get bonuses for helping you succeed, which is great for you. And so this is only for serious people. It's existing agency owners, people who are just getting started also, and just want to make this business and skip the heartache. Again, link is down below. If you want to dip your toe into some of our teachings and trainings, and money is tight and you want to land a few clients prior, or make some money prior, again, you could always join GoHighLevel under us and you get access to a bunch of stuff. Again, that link is down below too. Take a look around and we'll see you on the next case study, as well as the next training videos that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. Peace from Mexico.